Okay, so this video is going to look at some of the editing and changes and things that that you can make quickly on the go. So say there's just something when you're working with a track in a practice or on a Sunday, even pre-service, you might be working with something that needs a little bit of a change. These are some of the things that you might want to use. So any editing we're going to do with an open folder. So we'll just go over a few scenarios. So we'll just pick some random tracks to work with. So the first scenario I want to look at is just changing the volume of something. Like, say there's one part of a track that is maybe too loud or too quiet or something like that. Then this will be just changing the volume on one individual thing. So let's pick something here. Let's go. What have we got here? Let's go with this one. So I think this is one that we made some changes on. Creating fades, cool. Which is another thing we're going to look at is putting a fade on the end of a track. Like sometimes when you get to the end of a track, and the track carries on for quite a while, and you want to just be able to fade it out. That's another thing that we'll look at in this video. And also we'll look at actually cutting pieces out of tracks. So one that we do, say Spirit Come, sometimes you want to do a shortened version of that. And take the big instrumental section out of the middle of it. So we'll look at that as well. So let's have a look at, that didn't work. Look at that. So double click to open my folder. Cool, so we'll make it bigger for a start. So let's say that there. Let's say when we did it on a Sunday, that particular noise there was too loud, that it was peaking out the system, really screaming at everyone's ears. So I mean, on this one we've already got this track turned up. There's probably been an imbalancing, that it's been quieter than other tracks. So that's going to give us heaps of room to move. So you just want to find what it is that you want to work with. It might be on its own individual stem. If you've got a multi-tracks thing and it's you've got the loops and all the sounds and everything sort of separated. This is all in one track, but we'll work with it anyway. So we'll just find the sound we're looking for. So it's sort of in this section here. So I'm just going to drag a region over there. That's just going to help me to stay working in the area that I want to work in. So say it's all right at the start, but let's say it gets too loud at the end there. So what I might do is I might put a mark there, put one there, and then I want to change. Should be able to change. do it like that. Put a couple of dots in. And then with this hyperdraw volume, you can make adjustments like this in various places, which is sort of a matter of, you know, playing around with it and getting it right in the right spot. But this gives you a general idea. So you don't, I mean, it's a bit hard to hear without it plugged into a full system. So I'll just make it a bit more dramatic. Yeah, okay, I mean, obviously that's not what we want to do with the track. We don't want to get rid of it completely, but that just, you know, shows you how it's working. So again, it's something you want to do plugged into your full system so that you're hearing what it really is going to sound like. But yeah, if you've just got one sound in a track that is it just hits out too loud at one point, but the rest of the track is fine, you can use this hyperdraw like this just to bring down particular sections of it. Just a reminder for putting hyperdraw on, you just select whatever you want to add it to, come up to view, hyperdraw, and it's volume that we're working with. Cool. So that's a volume change. So all of our volume changes we do are done with this hyperdraw line, and you'll see the reasons in the other videos, but it's all about, make sure I get rid of that, it's all about affecting the volume only on this piece of track rather than doing it on the channel strip, which would affect everything that falls on audio 2 in all of my tracks. Cool, so that's, well, let's just use the same track. Let's say I want to fade out the end of it. Which, I mean, this isn't generally one that you need to do that on. But let's say it was. So you've got this thing called Fade Tool. So you hit Escape, brings up your toolbox. And then in there, Fade Tool. So basically you just drag from the end and you're going to drag that along. Cool. And it makes a straight fade like that. So you can see where your audio is there, where it's only going to start actually having effect. I'm just going to change that fade every time I do it. So you can hear it start to fade down there. So you can actually bring this quite. So let's say I want to start this fading back here somewhere. Then I can actually bring that right across, say like that. It's just gonna. So that's going to get gradually quieter. Let's say I wanted it to drop quite a bit more suddenly here. I can actually, if I get in the right place, yeah, grab that line and I can actually bend this. So I can use a combination of where it's landing and that bend in the line to get it to fade basically however I want. It's just going to create the fade every time I do it. Cool. So then in a normal track you would need to be creating those fades on each individual thing. But that is something we use a bit of for some of these tracks that go on for a long time, right at the end, like you finish the song, but then it goes on and on and on and on with all the guitars carry on and that sort of thing. So we'll quite often chuck these on just to fade that out. Cool, so the other thing I said we would do is look at cutting out sections. So let's look at the Spirit Come, just because it's one that comes to mind when you think of this. So the first thing, what I open our folder again, is going to be to find the section that we want to cut out. Probably going to be down here somewhere where the vocals cut out. So then we've got another big instrumental coming up here. Let's say I want to cut out this section of instrumental, so I'll have this section and then I want to throw it back into the chorus. So our chorus is going to be here, where our vocals come back in. Cool, so what I want to be working with here really is the click. Okay, so everything is going to fall into bars. This up here isn't going to be in line at the moment because that is, that's not set at the right tempo. So you can see my click doesn't line up with it. I could set it to the right tempo, but I don't really need to. I'll just see what output that's on. So I'm just going to change this. If the drummer's doing this on the day, you can just do it with the click turned on in your ears. But because I don't have any of that stuff plugged in, I'm just going to change the click so I can hear it. Cool. So that's leading in. Ooh. Two, three, four. The next one. Cool. So what I want to do is make that nice and big. Remember, if I muck this up, Command Z, you can always undo stuff. Cool, so what I've done is I've just made that bigger so I can be more accurate, and I've come right in front of my click there, and now I'm just going to go like this. I could do them all and cut the click as well. In this case, I'm not actually going to do that. I'm just going to select these ones. Cool, and I'm going to grab my scissor tool, and because I've selected them all, when I click here, it's going to cut all of them at exactly the same place. Go back to my pointer. Right, I'm come along here. Having the backing vocal one here is handy. Finding those guys come back in. Make it smaller. Oh, what have I done? Oh, I've lost my backing vocals, so that must mean when I accidentally hit that key. Here we go. Back. Cool. So that marker is still in the same place. So I'm just going to do this again. Cool. And hit with my scissor tool right on that line. Cool. Now I should be able to roll along. And there's my backing vocals back there. So I want to find the start of the bar that I want to come into. So I'm just got to set that again. So to change that output, you hold down the mouse click on it while you do that. So the start of my chorus musically is really there. Right. Kind of winging this a little bit, but hopefully we'll get that right. Let's just make that nice and big. Put it there. We'll see what it sounds like anyway, and find out. So what I can do, I can either erase this stuff away and just make sure that I don't delete it. Sorry, I don't save it like that. Or what we often do is we just shift it off the end. If it'll let me. Go away. Right. Cool. Put it far enough along that it's not going to run into the end. Cool. Make that bigger again so I can see what I'm doing. Right, let's see how that sounds. Cool, so that's not too bad, right? Obviously this is just a pretty quick, throw together. You might be a bit more careful when you're actually doing it, but cool, but that's the idea. That's, cutting a piece out of the track. So then, at the end of the day, when you're finished, just make sure it doesn't get saved. If it does get saved, then you've still got this piece here, and you can just undo what's been done. Or you could do this in a project screen and you could bring it in as a separate track and call it Spirit Comes Short or something. But what's that, 5 minutes just to chuck it together like that. So you can see here now back in our main screen that it's got that separation. Those are the bits that I chucked out. So you'll just have to watch that you don't overlap those with the next track. Cool, which isn't going to work, so it'll probably easiest actually is just to drag this one this way a little bit. Give it a bit of breathing space at the end there. Cool, easy. Yeah, so those are just some common things that you do on the day. That and muting stuff, which I have covered in other videos, but just to look at it, you wouldn't generally do it in this one so much, but stuff with drums and bass that you want to mute on and off, select channel strip you want and hit M. Cool. So again, like if I start muting channels like this, then I mute everything that's on audio 3, which I don't want to do. I just want to mute the individual region, which I do just like that. So yeah, nice and easy. Cool, done.